Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Actuali Podcast. I'm here today with my friend Elijah, aka Heartbreak Jim, is his pen name. Check him out on Instagram. He's on Twitter as well. Thank you so much for joining me today, Elijah. How we doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm grateful. This is my first interview in this magnitude, so I'm extremely grateful to have been on your podcast to do this.
Very cool, man. Yeah, I hope a lot of people tune in and they get turned on to the work that you're doing out there. I want to point everybody out. Above Elijah's right shoulder here is the saying, "What are you showing people when they look in your windows?" What do you mean by that?
Well, it has a lot of meanings actually. It depends how you want to look at it, because life is all about perception. You can take it in a literal sense of your windows, whether your balcony windows, your patio windows, your car windows, your bedroom windows. What are you showing people when they look in those windows? But personally, when I wrote it, and from my perspective, they always say when the eyes are the window to the soul.
Mm-hmm.
So when I wrote that in mind, it was into the interpretation of what are you showing people when they look in your eyes? Because you can look at anybody's eyes and tell it tells a story. So what are you showing people when they look in your eyes? That's actually an excerpt from another poem that I wrote. Because like now I do them as quotes like this, but I actually have like entire poems, like a lot of poems.
That you're
I
like
post
drawing these
them on
quotes out
Twitter.
of.
I
Yeah.
draw them on like paper like this now. When I first started, I used to upload them on Instagram as the entire poems, but I realized it wasn't really working, so I had to switch it around a little.
Yeah.
But if you want to see some of my entire work, I do post it on Twitter as well.
Right on.
So
And that's at
yeah, heartbreak
Heartbreak
underscore Jim. Yep,
underscore Jim on there. And Jim, that stands for Journeys in Mind.
exactly. I'll tell you how I came up with the name. I
Very cool.
didn't. I was on my couch and I was writing one of my. This was the first poem I wrote under this pen name because I didn't just start last year. I'll give a little background. When I was younger, I used to write a little, and I would make music too, but I was never really like fully invested into it
Mm-hmm.
because I'm aware of my own transgressions, and being a musician slash rapper is not really my forte. But I can write like there's no tomorrow. So when
Nice.
I accepted that, I, taken the poetry road. And as I was writing my first poem, which is called The Package, um, the name just popped in my head. It
Hmm.
was like Heartbreak Jim. And I
Whoa.
was like, okay, I'll go with it. And then like I didn't come with the journeys in mind part right away. For like a couple weeks after, as I started saying it, I was like, I can actually make an acronym of this. So yeah, that's Heartbreak Journeys in Mind.
I dig it, man. Journeys in Mind is really cool. I like where that takes me. And it's also cool how you mentioned like what are you showing people when they look in your windows? And that can mean like when they look in the windows of your home or your car. And that's like the way it first struck me for like the first second. And then the next second was, of course, I know he's talking about the windows. The eyes are the windows of the soul. But I love the way that it struck me. Like, how are you taking care of yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Like when no one's
And are
looking. If
you
they just
taking care of
happened,
yourself?
are you? If they just happened to look in your windows, how would your house look? If they just happened to look in your eyes at any time, what would they
Mm-hmm.
find? Yeah, and so it
Exactly.
like struck me with the dual meaning, and I like that it carries that. Yeah.
I appreciate that, you were able to catch that because, sometimes, like you said, some of how you read it was like, oh, he's probably talking about a car. But it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
you double took it and you was like, wait a minute, I see what's going on here. And I have a tendency of like doing that with a majority of my writings. Like there's a lot of double and triple meanings to what
Mm-hmm.
I say. Um, and I enjoy it because it's like it's layered. It's like an onion essentially. Like if you're eating or peeling an onion, it's not like you peel it and it's finished right away. There's layers.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, creating with layers and, complexities is equivalent to longevity
Mm.
because it's like if you only have a single meaning to what you're sharing, once that single meaning isn't relevant anymore, then your work isn't relevant.
Yeah, it's just one
So
dimensional. Yeah.
exactly, you have to keep it three-dimensional, like a prism over a triangle.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how I like to look at it.
Yeah, because there's multiple angles that you can look at
Hmm.
something from, and when you give people those layers, it gives them something to grab onto and explore and dive and delve into and get more out of it. I feel like effective art is always doing that. It's multi-layered in its meaning. It's finding ways to reach you and then draw your attention to something even deeper.
Exactly. Like you want to create something that resonates. Because if it
Yes.
resonates, that means it'll be shared, whether by word of mouth, whether through a story on social media, or just a conversation that the person that read it has with someone else.
Yeah.
It'll make them want to go see what you're posting also.
Right. I get the sense that you're wanting to turn people on to art, not just for your own self, you know, but for there's a larger purpose, it feels like, that you're trying to
Always.
share. Yeah.
That larger purpose is I write about a multitude of topics really. Um Happiness, sadness, positivity. I write about God a lot. I write
Mm.
like I have like three poems that I wrote about God because God is without God, nothing would be here essentially. And it's like not everyone believes in God and stuff, and I'm understanding of that, but there is a higher power here that is controlling and making everything that happens happen.
Right.
Like if you keep that in mind when the bad days occur, the good days will follow.
True that.
And when the good days are happening, there won't always be good days either. It's all about balance, really.
So
So I
much.
just like to express that duality with my writing, really. That's like mainly why I do it.
Yeah, well, I love that you're willing to express that duality and that you're willing to speak of God uh, for even for those who don't believe in God.
Mhm.
I feel like we can still have a sense of wonder, a sense
Yeah, you
of
got to believe in
reverence
something.
for this great, even if it's just the great mystery of this existence and the infinite nature of this universe and the, it's impossible to comprehend things like eternity and even as many stars as there's supposed to be in just this one galaxy. And so
Just think of
I
how
love,
many
yeah,
people's in the same state as us.
right, yeah, yeah. So I like that you seem to be tuned into that mission of sparking lights and sparking wonder and retaining a sense of reverence towards God, towards the mystery, towards life
Towards
itself.
yourself,
Yeah, yeah, right.
essentially. As you mentioned, I'm not a believer of finding the light. I believe you're born with the light. The
Mm,
light is always inside of us.
mm,
It's just on us to tap into it. We all
yeah,
have the ability to be good people. It's just a choice that we make to be good or not.
that's
Just
it.
like I believe like everything is in us, and it's our decisions on how we would like to live our lives. But the way we live our lives affect other lives also. So it'd be much easier if this is my personal preference. That is, it'll be a lot easier if we tapped into the light inside of us rather than the other things that's potentially inside of us, especially during times like this where the pandemic is still ongoing and division is still evident more than
So
ever.
much.
I
Yeah,
feel like this type of message is what needs to get across. Like reading a
absolutely, man.
quote like that,
Yeah,
someone will look in the mirror and be like, what am I showing people? Because
yeah,
essentially change starts with us. So
yeah. That's it. Yeah, and so I love that. I love that this is what you're selling. I feel like it is what the world needs the most right now. The division has been heartbreaking to watch go
mm,
down. Like seeing people's families, friendships, uh,
yeah,
everything breaking down, and you're throwing these beautiful curveballs out there, man. And I feel like that's it. That's the best thing that people can be doing right now is just touching on that something deeper that relates all of us. and
Mhm.
uh, and
That makes
brings
us the
people back
same,
to yeah,
essentially.
you know, yeah, yeah, I agree, and we're all so much more the same than we can possibly realize, and the differences among us are something I think that can be celebrated.
Yeah.
And I love what happens when you see that unity in division or unity in diversity. Um, we can break ourselves apart and divide, but then we can unify on deeper ground, on something that is more universal,
Yeah.
and that seems to
It's a
take
lot
us
more
back
than
home.
surface.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, I
Mhm.
feel that. So, so what brought you to this? What brought you to this interest of writing and expressing in this way?
Well, like I said, when I was younger, particularly in like sixth and seventh grade, when like MySpace was around, I would like write and I would record over instrumentals. Like I was trying to be a rapper, but not like
Mm-hmm.
a rapper, but I did it as a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think MySpace is around anymore for
I
that to
remember
be
that though.
found.
Yeah.
But if somebody can find that on the internet, I would be proud. But yeah, like when I was like writing and stuff, then I was always big on making my words rhyme, which is what I do with my poems now.
Oh man, I
But
did that
I,
hard too.
yeah, because it's like the flow, it just flows differently when all of, like when the words rhyme and the couplets are like that. But even for the poems that don't rhyme, when the words are effective enough, it can be just as good or even better.
Yeah, right.
But just my personal niche, I just like making it rhyme because it's like it's just a thing for me. I like it. It's like a
Yeah.
format that I like to follow. But yeah, I was just writing about anything back when I was a teenager. And then back in 2019 or 2018, I wrote a poem about clouds. And that's when I was like, okay, I still have it. But I wasn't making the words rhyme then. But it was like I was talking about clouds without really using the word clouds. I really, I don't want to say ignored it, but I had other things, other priorities at that time. I didn't fully explore it.
Hmm.
But when COVID happened, and like I live alone, me and my dog. So like when COVID happened and life happened, I was just writing one day, and it all came together, and I didn't stop.
Nice.
Really,
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
I feel like, man, this is the time to be turning the art up. And you see it happen in hard times, like the 60s and 70s were really hard for the
Mhm.
world and for this country, and like
Even the
the
Roaring
beauty.
Twenties and the end of the 20s.
Hey, right? Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know how
the
they say
beauty
history
that comes
repeats
out of that.
itself?
It does though, doesn't it? Yep.
Yeah, it's looking
Yeah,
very
and you know
1920s
what? This
around
is
here.
funny. You were talking about rhyming because I heard another quote. I'd have to look up to see who actually said this, but they said history it doesn't just repeat itself; it rhymes. So like,
Hmm.
it's not exactly repeating itself, but it's similar to what happened before. It's like it's rhyming. It's playing off the thing that came before in a unique way.
Yeah.
That's a lot of how I started writing too. It was a lot of rhyming and
Hmm.
just getting the art of wordplay down, you know, writing about anything and loving language. And it wasn't until later that I started to find ways to write poems that would still grab the reader, maybe, hopefully, without rhyming, but I would be playing
Hmm.
with symbolic structure and or syllable, the structure of the syllables, the way that different consonants play off of each other and different vowel sounds, and even the lines themselves would be a certain number of characters, and then the next line sometimes I'd find myself matching that 40 characters of the line above or whatever it was to play with the shape of the poem itself. And I really like finding those different frames that you kind of can give yourself
Yeah.
that allow the
The
poem to
flow.
grow within, yeah, to room for it
It's
to
a
flow.
challenge.
Yeah, and you
But
need
your
that
level of
challenge.
precision is different than mine because you have characters matching. I've never even thought of
It
that.
just happened on accident one day. I've even made poems where it was like shapes, so it comes out like a vase or a statue or something like that. Yeah, Those are
That's
fun too. And they
cool.
used to do those, I think, like way
I'm
back in the day.
fascinated by that. I'm fascinated
Yeah,
by
it's cool.
this.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun, man. I'll share with you something after the podcast.
Mhm.
I remember one of my old writing professors liked one of my pieces that I managed to fit into a weird vase kind of a shape. I did one with a tree that was cool, so it was like it goes up like that. So it starts out and it's like these are the
And then it gets
branches,
smaller and
and then it gets
smaller.
smaller and smaller, and then it widens out a little bit at the bottom to make the roots. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
I like that a lot. You piqued my intrigue.
yeah. You know, it's fun. Yeah, it's cool how having borders, boundaries
Mhm.
is what gives us the room, almost like the permission for the art to be in that space, and then that really helps us um, just tease out the words and find the way to make something special. To say something in that space.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. The infinite potential that's always available in every moment continues
Mhm.
to blow me away. Um,
Everything is art if you think about it.
Everything is art. Yeah, I did a podcast on that. Um, Life as an art,
Mhm.
learning how to live life as an art, and you can
It'll
find.
make you appreciate the small things.
Yeah, yeah, it really does, man. Like you can get into the smallest, even the nitty-gritty stuff like washing the dishes,
Mhm.
cleaning the house can become a form of worship or at least mindfulness, um, to where we're present in the moment and we let things be as amazing as they naturally are. I think
Mhm.
that it's very easy to have our frames of perception, the way that we're seeing the world, those frames that we see through, they can really muddle our sense of reality. And life can be hard. It's no wonder it happens to people. But when that happens, we kind of get fogged out from the beauty, from the light that
Yeah.
seems to be emanating from everything, as long as you have the eyes to see it. And you
I
have
feel like the
another.
light.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm sorry. I feel
Yeah,
like the light never goes out. It just
yeah, I
dims.
like that. It just dims. It gets covered over, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like there's these lenses that are getting put in front, and they're kind of opaque, and
Yeah.
they have our interpretations of reality, and then there's our conditions of conditioning, then the programming and everything that we're raised with, and then there's like all these TV shows and stuff that we watched, and music and people we've experienced, and there's all these things that we're seeing through, all these experiences and impressions that we're seeing through. And when you take all that stuff away and you just let reality be what it is without any interpretation,
Mhm.
um, it's a really wondrous thing, and that's when everything shines forth.
Do you think reality is what we make it?
Yeah, yeah, I feel like it's our experience of reality. That seems to be mostly dependent on one's choice of perspective. You see people in the most dire straits that can still sing and be happy and try and cheer people up around them. Um, and you see people with seemingly everything that can still be grumps and angry and impatient. So, so yeah, life I do believe is very much what we make it, and it feels like it's like a dance that we get to take part in. Like there is this
Mhm.
something greater that we're all a part of.
Yeah.
Um,
It's all a bigger picture.
yeah, I feel like there's a bigger picture, and we get to dance in that. Yeah, yeah, we have complete free will to do as we are inspired to.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We control our destinies essentially.
yeah, yeah. I
In
do
a
believe
sense.
that.
In
Yeah,
a
I mean, of
sense.
course, there's gonna be factors at play, just like there's boundaries to the art, there's the borders to the canvas, there's time and there's space, and there's gravity and laws of physics and things. But it's amazing. People seem to produce miracles every day. You know?
Miracles literally come out of thin air. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what makes life so worth it.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. The fact that we get to take the shadows of life and point to the light, that
Hmm.
that is projecting them, that we can take uh, hard and heavy circumstances and find something beautiful in them. Um, I was talking with a friend the other night about how much I love sad music, and she was expressing how she loved sad music too, and
Hmm.
how beautiful it is. And I was thinking about that. It's like it's his honesty. It's the fact that it's like it's speaking for us in a way that nothing else can. Like
You
music
could
and
feel
art
it.
is really good at that. You can feel it. There's something honest and real and genuine happening. Yeah.
Are you because I'm just like you. I do like my sad music, but I feel like particularly stringed instruments and
Hmm.
like the piano like
Wow.
emphasizes the sadness. Like if you think about a sad
It's
song,
so clear.
9 times out
Yeah.
of 10, one of those two are included in it
That's a good
because it's
point,
like it
man.
tells a story.
That's a really good point. Oh man, the artist's name. Okay, so there's a pianist I used to listen to. He wasn't even well known. I remember
Mhm.
sending him an email one day and thanking him for his music because it was so like melancholy, but it helped me through a hard time. Um, if I remember his name, I'm going to put it in the show notes for people to discover. And he was kind of surprised and taken aback because he, had maybe only, I don't know, a few hundred people, 1,000 people listening to his music. It wasn't a ton of people. Um, and so he's a little, I guess he's a little taken aback and very appreciative. And and I was thinking that's probably because of what he was going through and he wrote that stuff too.
Mhm.
Um, but I do think that that is a gift, and of course I love all kinds of music. Um, but yeah, there is something to that. We can take sadness and we can say something that is very true that it somehow helps heal that sadness, and in that way, art is such a gift to humanity, and it's like an honor. It's a service to be able to share it. Yeah,
You never know what you're sharing, how it'll help someone else.
right.
That's why I don't really have any issues with sharing my stuff because most importantly, like yeah, I do it for me. Yeah, I have fun with it and everything. But I like to do it for people,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
who can't express themselves with words or they
Mm-hmm.
want to express themselves but don't know how to put together the words to do it.
Yeah,
Or if they're like having a bad day and just need something positive to read. Like I like to do that. That
right.
that's my main goal
Yeah, yeah. Because of
to
course we're doing it for ourselves, in that we want to honestly express what's in our hearts, and I think that intention to help is a very very pure place to come from, and that just to share something that uplifts, inspires, or meets people where they're at and helps them in some way is really cool. Um, yeah,
you can
like
tell when someone writes from the heart.
right. You can. Yeah, yeah.
That's a
Hear it in
big
music
difference.
too, big time. Yep.
Music, poetry, it's like you can feel the words, the
Mm-hmm.
sincerity of the words.
Yeah, yeah.
It's serving its purpose. Like if the song is meant to make you happy, you're gonna be happy. Like how Pharrell made Happy for
Yeah, dude,
Despicable
I
Me
just
too.
thought about that. That's cool you said that. Yep.
That song
Yeah.
makes me very happy, but like it's serving its purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But for another example, and that's another duality I like too. I like it when like song lyrics may not match the sound.
Oh, right.
Like I've realized a lot these days that a lot of artists are like they use like happy sounding instrumentals and happy production, but if you listen to the words, it's like wow, wait, what is he
This is
actually
heavy.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a different type of perception. It's
Yep.
like they switched it up in that sense, and that's a good thing too. It just keeps things fresh, and it keeps the listener peeled,
Yeah.
essentially.
That's a good way to deliver heavy stuff too, is to put it in that kind of, and into that kind of placement and something that sounds uplifting to the ear.
Hmm.
It's like it balances it.
Yeah,
It's cool when people do that. I like that play. That the duality is happening right there for sure.
because some
Yeah.
people may not want to like they'll put on like the song and like hear that first chord or that first string instrument, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not in the mood for that.
Yeah,
But like
right.
if it's a happy choir singing, but the words don't match, it's like person is playing it is like, oh my gosh, this is really good. This is really happy. And
Yeah.
then they listen and like, hey, wait a minute. I wasn't expecting to feel this, but I still feel happy. It's like a bunch of emotions at once.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rich. It's really rich that way. And it makes it so that it's digestible or deliverable to people
Mm-hmm.
in whatever state they're in. So you put something,
Presentation.
yeah, that presentation, you put something that's meaningful, even if you're talking about something a little bit heavy, and you put that with that backdrop that is inspiring and uplifting. It's another cool way to get through an idea. And I like you see musicians do that a lot. You see
Mm-hmm.
poets and painters, artists of all kind are doing that. Have you ever seen the movie Shawshank Redemption?
I heard of it, but I've never
Oh,
watched
it's a
it. I know it's
classic, man.
extremely way back though.
Yeah, so it's from the '90s, I think, and
Mm-hmm.
it's based off a Stephen King story, but it's one of his dramas. It's not one of his horror stories, and it's really good. It's a story about hope, but it is in the murkiest and the darkest of scenarios. And it's one of those great examples of
Mm-hmm.
how you can deliver something very,
Presentation.
yeah, all about the presentation, man. Yeah, it's very washed of color, actually, the way that they filmed it too, and the
Mm-hmm.
music is very melancholy, but it's super uplifting. Yeah, it's super empowering. It's a great story.
It's the forest beyond the trees theory,
Yeah.
I would like to call it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But sometimes you have to look deeper than what's presented.
Yeah.
So a lot more complex than you may think.
They are. Things are always like that. And the forest through the trees, yeah, we get stuck on the trees and we forget about the forest. I feel like the forest can be that great wonder of life itself. The fact that we're all here
Mm-hmm.
and we're these walking, talking beings that are self reflective, and we're literally extensions of Earth, which formed out of stardust, atoms that were created in the furnaces of stars that exploded and spread across the universe and then coalesced into planets. And those planets grew into things like ourselves, plants
Mm-hmm.
and animals. And then the most reflect, like the ones that actually became self aware, like ourselves, start writing about it and wondering about it. And
Like
that
how did
right
this
there, yeah.
happen?
How did it even happen? Yeah. Yeah, I like dropping the certainty, um, and just being in that state of wonder. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's a place that can appeal to the scientist and the religious person.
Yeah.
You want to be in that place of wonder and not closed off to new information as a scientist. And you want to be in that place of wonder when you are seeking to commune, understand the universe, and live in service to perhaps the will of God itself. Yeah.
Exactly. I like how you said the service. I personally like, I do everything that I do clearly because my own perceptions and like reality and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I like to say that, when I do the things I do, it's God's work because it's not me.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing it. Like I do it for me, but ultimately that's not the end goal.
Man, that's such a
Like,
powerful orientation. It's a
thank
conversation I've been having with a mentor, a really good friend of mine, Gary Burgle, who was one of my professors in college, and he's on a previous episode of this podcast. I'm gonna hopefully be bringing him on again soon. He's such a fascinating guy, but he's we've had conversations about that, living life as a service and surrendering our lives over to the will of something greater, to God.
Mhm.
And that's how we speak of it specifically. And man, that is the deepest notion. That is such a big thing to come on to even begin considering how one can honestly do that.
Yeah.
That changes the game. That changes the game entirely. You know,
Mhm.
it takes
It
courage.
draw it, it takes courage, like you said, um there has to be almost no ego involved there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um and you just have to believe in a higher purpose that like no matter what's going on around you or what's happening to you, it's a bigger picture. It's like
Amen.
I used to always say, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? But shifting perspectives is like, why is this
Mm.
happening for me?
Right.
Why did this? And it's like, this had to happen for this to happen.
And we have these experiences. Yeah. We go
Yeah.
through something hellish and then we're like thankful for it afterwards. Like, actually, that was good for me. I needed that. I
Like
needed to
you
go
learned
through that.
something.
Yeah. Or it helped me land here. Now it tipped me away from that path and it put me over here. And I didn't like the hardship at the time, but now I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is very intriguing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like we'll never really discover the full meaning behind it, but just living through our purpose while we're here makes it worthwhile.
Yeah.
It makes the struggle less.
It does. And it seems easier to navigate, doesn't it? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not as confusing anymore. It's
It's
like,
not
where
as
do I
confusing.
go? What
You
do
don't
I
take
do?
things as serious either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you know
And that
everything
higher
is a bigger
calling.
scheme.
Yeah. And I want to keep coming back to, I notice myself doing this. Like I'm always trying to find a way to speak to the atheists and the
Mhm.
agnostics, particularly to the atheists because they're certain in their perspective. And I want to help people loosen that certainty so that because it'll help them be better
That might be your
scientists if
purpose. Who knows, huh?
right, but I'm very spiritually inclined, and
Hmm.
the wonder never ceases to amaze me, and I know that that wonder is available for all of us, and that higher missions, higher callings that supersede our personal interests are also super fulfilling for our species, and it's like it's built into our DNA, to learn how to be more cooperative, to learn how to be able to commune and empathize and sympathize with other people, to be able to be co creative together and see how magnified, exponentially powerful we are when we put our minds and hearts together.
Hmm.
All of those things are accessible to every human, I feel like. And so it's something that I love pointing back to because I want my atheist friends to know too. Like, just because we're talking about God and service here doesn't mean that
Hmm.
this is inaccessible to you either. Like, you can look, from the perspective of the human being as this self-reflective, intelligent outgrowth of Earth, as
Hmm.
Earthlings. Like, what is best serving Earthlings and long-term survival of our species, and how can we be better stewards of this planet that we have somehow been gifted with. I
Yeah.
think that it helps us orient right back, and we could all be working on the same goal together, regardless of our belief systems. If we just got back to that love,
'Cause- yeah.
you know?
It's the love at the end of the day.
Yeah,
And it's even because you mentioned the atheists and the agnostics. I know a few atheists and agnostic people, and it's like
yeah,
I'm able to be friends with them because it's like
same,
that's your
yeah,
view. I'm
yeah,
not
because they're
gonna,
still good
sway
people.
me for
Yeah,
your view. Yeah, your
yeah,
view has nothing to do with me,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah,
But like at the end of the day, it is bigger than us. No
yeah.
matter what you believe in, there is something bigger than us. Like there's
Heck yeah, that's for sure. You know?
if you don't believe in God,
Okay.
I wrote a poem about this. Pain connects us
Ooh.
because no matter what you believe in, you'll feel pain, not just
Mm.
physical pain, emotional pain. I said something along the lines like, it's a different teacher speaking different. It's the same teacher speaking different languages.
Ooh,
Pain
yeah, I like
comes
that.
to you in different, you know, avenues. It can come in physical sense. It can come in a mental sense, an emotional sense, from
Mm.
someone you don't even know or
Mm.
someone who's the closest to you. But we all have some type of story where we felt pain before,
Mm.
and that's like something that we can relate from the very beginning.
Yeah.
That's just one of many, though.
Yeah, and we can help other people with how they have to
Yeah.
deal and cope with their own pain. Yeah. Boom. Love it, man. Yeah, it seems to always come back to that, to love,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. It's the
Yeah.
common denominator.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And that's cool that you highlighted pain because like the Buddhists highlight that too. Like life is suffering is the translation of the idea of dukkha, but
Hmm.
it really means something like a wheel off kilter, like it's like things are not quite right. We feel imbalanced, and it's even in their kind of different theosophical or philosophical way of looking at it, they bring back that life of purpose and meaning and getting the ego out of the way to be able to care for one's own heart and other hearts in this
Yeah.
world. Yeah, yeah.
Empathy gets you far.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even though I'm a firm believer in empathy, I was guilty of this as well. You can't lose yourself in your empathy.
Hmm.
Like you have to care for your own heart
Oh, there you go.
just as
Yeah.
much as you care for others. Because more often than not, sometimes people will lose their way, caring or loving for someone more. And it's like it
Hmm.
becomes a detriment because you're neglecting yourself.
Neglect ourselves. Yep.
So you have to find that balance in a sense. And that's something that I just recently learned.
Hmm.
And I would always, put people first and consider everyone's feelings before my own. But it's like I can still be a good person and be a nice person and put myself first. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that at
Yeah.
all. Like it's a
Yeah. It helps us
perceived
be more
notion that
honest.
being selfish is bad. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
perceived notion that being selfish is bad, but it's like, am I being selfish really?
Yeah. It's different than being selfish. It's being self-aware and recognizing
Mm-hmm.
that this reminds me of that old adage, and I come to this a lot on the podcast. If you want to change the world, you must first change yourself or be the change you wish to see.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to that. And so when we are taking care of ourselves first, then we're enabling ourselves to be able to truly care for other people long term and more effectively. If we're
Yeah.
still damaged inside, our lessons that we're trying to share with others might come through a little bit muddled. The clearer that we are with ourselves, the clearer that we can be for others too, it seems. Yeah. And
Transparency is key.
yeah, and it's beautiful that people want to put others before themselves, and you see that. But it can only go so far. It's like the mother with the children, and she's working herself ragged. Maybe she's working two jobs and she's on her own, and she's trying to take care of the kids, and she's not finding a way to eat well or sleep enough. It's going to make things harder for her and the kids. And she's going to have to tell the kids, like, sometimes, hey guys, like, mama needs some rest today. Why don't you guys help me over here? Help me over here. And just that honesty is necessary. We got to make sure that our love goes in all directions and that we're not neglecting, like you said, our own selves. Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Because we got to
it
let that
comes
light
back.
shine free. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And it's sad too because sometimes if like as people we don't catch on to it soon enough, those with the biggest hearts down the line become the most bitter
Hmm.
because they've
Hmm.
given so much like to everyone and like neglected themselves for so long that sometimes they realize it too late
Oh yeah,
and
right.
there's nothing else to give to yourself. So that's where bitterness comes from in that
Ah, I could
perspective.
see that happening. Like people will get dependent on you. They won't learn to be as self-reliant. That can cause all kinds of pain and regret and resentment within the person that's been overly giving. And man, that's a great insight. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like I mean, it depends on the person because users will be users, but there's people who are genuinely not users and are good, but
Yeah. Oh yeah,
will
right.
ride that coattail because that's what they know.
That's just
That's
what
why
they
you have to
know.
set those boundaries, like you said.
Yep.
Boundaries are important.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Yeah. That's great. We keep coming full circle too. We're talking the boundaries here again. Yeah, the boundaries don't have to close us in, you
Mm-hmm.
know? They can be the pages within that are the room within which we write. It makes me think of Nelson Mandela writing from a jail cell.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like wherever you are, the boundaries can become a strength. and they
Sometimes
can
the
help shape
boundaries are
and sharpen.
positive. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the message that you have to
Boundaries aren't
share.
necessarily a negative thing.
No, no. Well, how could you see a picture painted if there wasn't an end somewhere to it? You know, that picture would just be painted forever. It would never stop.
I like
You
that
know?
perspective.
Yeah.
Like imagine just bleeding paint all over the wall because there's no
Right?
borders.
Yeah. 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 There's only so big you can go, and you can go big on this planet. You know, we can go really big with our art, but you can't. You got to find a way to contain it somewhere so that it is deliverable. Yeah.
And plus,
So
if it's contained more, it'd be appreciated more.
true. Yeah. Yeah. It helps us see it. It helps us be able to understand it. And it is like every piece of art is like a snapshot of this time and space from this new angle, you know?
Yeah, how I was feeling when I wrote this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So speaking of, do you have anything that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, actually, I wrote this poem. You don't mind if I go on my phone, right?
No, please do. Yeah, man.
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
Uh, I wrote this poem probably, well, I can see the dates in my notepad, but I wrote it not too long ago. I wrote it on September 10th. And since we were talking about God a lot, I told you I wrote three poems about him.
Hmm.
Uh, this is one of my favorites. So I'll
Awesome.
just share that one. And I put
Cool.
like a snippet of it on my Instagram page. So it'll make
Okay.
sense now when you hear it in its full
Awesome.
magnitude.
Awesome. Well, go check that out, people, after you hear this poem.
I already know with you, I'll never feel alone. That's why I'm not bothered by all this time on my own. Things not in my control, I release. Because it's myself I should seek if it's me I want to complete. Always there to clean up the issues that linger. You'll never allow me to slip through your fingers. A protection like yours is one that cannot be bought. The first one there whenever I feel I fall short. Before there was any walking, you was there when I would crawl. I never have to worry about you picking up when I call. It's all because of you I'm here still. It's not physical, but it's something I feel. Keep me linear when I almost entangle. What you've never given me is something I cannot handle. The reason behind all of my talent, everything that occurred up to this point needed to happen. And through it all, you was always there by my side. And who knows the story behind my eyes? The credit for everything first is you, everyone knows. When people look in my windows, it's you who show. You believed in me before anybody knew. That's why I say it's your work in everything that I do. No matter how it looks, the reason I remain calm, because at the end of it all, I know I'm always in your palm. Show me you'll have my back no matter how old. I'll talk to you most when my two fold. Always show me there's better when I don't follow my own plans. I don't know where I'm always going, but I know I'm always in your hands. And it's called Hands.
Man, that's powerful. That's good. Oh, that hits really hard when you read it too. You know,
I
that's
have presentation for it too, which is on the Instagram, but this,
yeah, man. I know this one too. I love that line.
yeah,
I talk to you
thank
most
you.
in my twofold. Man, that's
And
good.
the paint goes in the dark too. When I saw it, I was like, oh no, I gotta get creative. That's the art that we were talking about, the
Yeah.
presentation.
Yeah, man.
I'm
Yeah,
happy you liked it though.
you should see if there's a local art gallery that'll let you put that up, man.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, you should do it, man. That's what my buddy Gary would tell you, because he's encouraged me to get some of my stuff up here locally where I live.
You
And
should.
you
Whether
know,
you frame the pictures you take and put the poems under it, or like just do something like this. Your words are very powerful. Also,
I
do
appreciate
do you
that,
want to
man.
share something? Can you share something too, so I don't feel so lonely?
Yeah, man. All right, I'm gonna look on my phone now real fast. I'll just find something recent here that I posted up. Yeah, it'll be fun, man. Thanks for asking. I really like that. That's a powerful piece, man, and it just strikes me as so authentic. It's honest.
Mhm.
Um, you're not trying to impress anybody here. You're really like you're like it's like you wrote a letter to God in that poem.
Yeah.
That's it, man. And that's like I love the power of that. And
Mission
because what it
accomplished then.
transmits. Yeah, man. Yeah, because what that transmits to other people, just hearing that now, like that's one of the number one messages that I would want to be out in the world. So I'm glad that you shared that, man, and that you're doing the
It's
work
in
you're
the world
doing.
now, right?
It's out there now, man.
Through
Yeah.
you.
And we're gonna try and
Through
get some
you.
more people to find out about it. Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, it's heartening, it's consoling, and it's inspiring. I know people are
Mhm.
hungry for that right now. Okay, so
It's what
here's
the
a
world needs.
it is that's what I feel, right? Yeah. And I like the idea of kids growing into a world where people are doing this kind of thing more, you know? Like
That's
this is the way
why,
out.
yeah. And it's like, the things that are shown and stuff like that, like mainstream, like, it's not a complete negative message, but I feel like enough messages like this aren't spread.
Definitely not. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's why I'm very
especially right now.
meticulous with how I like write and stuff because
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be anybody's role model at all.
Right.
I'll be honest because, I'm a person too. But like I would definitely like a teenager can read that. They may not comprehend it 100%, but they would see that, for example, or their parent will see them reading something like that, and it wouldn't be an issue to them
Yeah.
because it's not detrimental, and it's promoting good stuff. That's just I make stuff for everybody. I'll
Yeah.
put it that way.
Yeah. I think that's what the true artist does.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's absolutely what the true artist does. I posted the other day on my personal Instagram a Marvin Gaye quote where he said
Mm-hmm.
that the true artist is the one that is expressing here. Let me find that quote real fast because I have it handy here. An artist, if he is truly an artist, is only interested in one thing, and that is to wake up the minds of men, to have mankind and womankind realize that there is something greater than what we see on the surface.
Exactly.
Marvin. I love
Love
him,
it.
man. Yeah, speaking of a powerful musician that was able to like take sad lyrics and put them to upbeat music, man.
What's going on?
Yeah,
Oh, it's
exactly.
still
Yeah, that's
relevant.
one of my
Still
favorite, man.
relevant.
If you look up, there's a really cool live video of him playing that song at concert, and he played it
Mhm.
back to back with What's Going On and What's Happening, Brother. If you look that up on YouTube, man, this is
On
one of the
YouTube.
most beautiful versions of it. Yeah, him playing it live. Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, just Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, What's Happening, Brother, live. And he plays them both back to back, and man, that was a powerful vessel, man. You could feel God
Yeah.
working through him, man. Yeah,
God's work, right?
that's it, man. Okay, so here's one that I'll read for you guys. So this one's for God too. We bow before the unknowable. What other pose can one honestly make? All open, fierce, and godly, soft in love, shining strength beyond. Soul's journey in every way, willingly, to be leveled by its gaze. And once taken aback, we can only search for words to describe what something beautiful already means, yet see and act in times between as though we know it not. It shines before us anyway, out of the 10,000 trillion things, heralding life and existence, even living as this sentence, yet unending and ever mysterious, and too real to ever truly be concealed. Still, we hang our lives on images and bypass the real, as though it's too bright to feel, as though we aren't it already. Rather than be forgotten, it grants inspiration to be carried on and deeper than ever before. Such is the mercy of love's gaze. So when we find ourselves alight and truly seen in another's eyes, and recognize that something so familiar It's no coincidence. It's unconcealable. We've known for centuries, ages and eons, over galaxies, and still it stretches on, and the blossomings and quakes, waves and high plateaus of love, and the chances we take to find it. We find ourselves exquisitely at home again, cradled in the heart of the knowing that was before. Shed the skin, the old attachments of all our weighty expectations. Bask in this grace, come what may. The love the world seeks is already won.
That was powerful.
Thank you,
I
man.
felt it.
Yeah,
And you want to
good.
know something? You would be
Yeah.
a great narrator. You would be a great narrator.
Oh,
You ever
thanks,
thought about
bro.
doing an audiobook?
I've had people mention this to me before, and I've thought about it. Yeah, I've always felt like I had some like speech impediment issues. I know people like my voice and that I can enunciate well. Um, I'm probably too self-critical, but yeah, I would probably
I'm the
enjoy
same
that.
way, but you're definitely I can see it already. I can
Uh,
listen to a whole audiobook that you publish on a drive or even
Thanks,
buy
man.
a physical copy, but
Yeah,
definitely like audio, like you can do that. I can see you narrating an entire series.
dude, that would be cool. I started writing a poem recently that's like a kind of an experiment where it's like a story
Mm-hmm.
and a poem, and it kind of switches back and forth between more poetic elements and then the story elements. And I might play around with doing more of that. Yeah,
Keep it fresh, keep it different.
you know. Yeah, always,
That's
always,
the art. Art is forever.
forever, man. Yeah, in every direction that it wants to branch out and explore. Like I love that. We don't have to put. Well, I guess we're talking boundaries. We don't have to put boundaries on what kind of art we can create. We can always be open. And I love that with my band that none of us are closed to any one style of music. We love all music that has heart, so we're willing to bring anything to the table. And that's
Mm-hmm.
I think that's helped us a lot in our writing process and staying creative and exciting. Yeah.
How do you have like multiple albums or like how's the music?
Yeah, yeah. So my band, American Dharma, has
Mm-hmm.
one album out now called Cosmosis, and that's like 14 tracks, and we recorded it ourselves, and we're now recording our new album. We've much improved our recording quality as well as hardware, instruments. There's been a lot of upgrades that the guys have gone through, and a lot that we learned from recording the first album. So this next one, now that we've really gotten to know each other and we know that we're free together,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited. The new stuff is really it's very powerful to me, and I hope that
Mm-hmm.
it is as powerful for other people. Yeah.
Any release window in mind?
Uh,
Give the listeners a
yeah,
preview.
so we're trying to bring it out, and I think it's going to be 2022 now. Yeah, it's going to be early
Mhm.
2022. We're probably going to start releasing it one song at a time, and we're going to release them as singles, and then once every song is out, then the full album will be released as well. But we'll release it first as singles. I think it's going to be the way we're going to do it. So it should be coming soon. Yeah,
I'm
first.
looking forward
Yeah,
to it.
yeah, man,
Early
awesome.
2022.
Yeah, yeah, it's
I
coming.
like you mentioned, I didn't really get to mention, but I touched on music a little bit, but I listen to all types of music too. I love all types of music. I've been a music child since I was a child. In fifth grade, no, not even fifth grade. In third grade, it started. Third and fourth grade, I played the recorder, and then in fifth grade, I played the trombone. And
Nice.
for my 23rd birthday, I bought myself a saxophone. So clearly, I
Oh,
like music.
nice. Nice, man. Yeah. Do you still play the sax?
I'm not as good as I want to be, but that's because I haven't put as much time into it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I'm getting down that road. Like I write poetry and stuff, but I make beats too. I have a whole nother Instagram
Oh,
with just beats upload. Yeah, I'm a little
cool.
hush hush about it, but like
Ah,
it's
all right.
there. It's
Cool,
there.
man. Hey, I like that. I like that you're telling us this, man. Because I'm
Yeah.
wearing multiple artistic hats here myself, and doing the band and the podcast and the poetry, and that's really cool that you make beats, man. So, okay, that's gonna be cool because I have a few friends. One in particular I'm thinking of right now, my boy Vegas White. I don't know if he's still going by that MC name or not, but man, is he just a wordsmith, and he's always looking for new beats. So maybe I'll be able to connect you guys.
You see, I wanted to be secretive about it, but now that you have someone that could potentially like my beats, I'll just share my beat Instagram too.
Yeah,
It's a
do it.
bit of a play on
Okay.
my poem name, which is Heartbreak J.I.M, but it's
Hmm.
abbreviated, so it's HBJ, and then there's a period 007, like GoldenEye
Ah,
007,
yeah. HBJ
and
period
yep.
007.
Reason being is you know how 007 is GoldenEye, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I like to perceive myself as having a golden ear because
Ah,
I was
nice.
always big on like production and music. Like when I listen to music, yeah, I listen to the lyrics, but I listen to the production too. So like
Okay.
when it's the subtle beat switches and everything, or like certain chord progressions,
You're paying attention to
those
that.
things, yes, it makes me happy.
Ah,
But you
cool.
can see the influence on my own production style as well. And that's another thing too. I'm very versatile with my production. So it's like if anyone is curious enough to go on my Instagram, you'll probably find a beat that you'll hear a rapper over, or you can hear a beat that can be a score in a movie,
Hmm.
or um selection menu at your video game. Like I'm
Ah,
very
nice.
versatile
That's cool that you're doing
with my
that.
production. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you have to. You
You
got to be a
gotta,
jack
yeah.
of all trades.
Right. Well, you gotta explore all those avenues too to see what you're good at, and
Uh,
also just to get good at different stuffs because it makes you better in all ways at whatever you want to deliver. And yeah, man, and you're giving people options too. And as long as there's
yeah.
an interest in creating something, even if it's a menu selection screen for a video game, man, that's cool. Because there's what was that game? Oh man, there's like it had let me see if I can remember the name of this. I don't want to say Diddy Kong Racing, but it wasn't that. This is an old Nintendo 64
Donkey
racing game.
Kong, maybe?
It's like Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong and
Mario
a
Kart,
bunch
maybe?
of a bunch of other. It's like Mario Kart. It's made by
Mm-hmm.
Rare, and it was Banjo Kazooie and all those guys. Maybe it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
Diddy and Donkey Kong.
Sounds like an all-star game for sure,
Dude, it
though.
was an all-star game and it was so cool. And then the character selection screen for when you chose your driver was the best background music ever, dude. It's so fun. Yeah.
I'm happy we're having this conversation because there's people who like just play video games and just play the games, but it's like sometimes those soundtracks on those video games are like
Dude,
really, really
some of
like good.
some of the coolest soundtracks, man. And I'm like, why did this guy spend so much time on this song, on this game that he didn't even know was going to be big? But I love it. I love that he did, man. Yeah. Some of my favorite video game music is from the old NES, SNES, Sega Genesis period, man. Where they
Mm-hmm.
had like, they were limited, they got those boundaries once again, so they're like very limited in what they can do. They can only have like six simultaneous sounds for their musical tracks because there's got to be sounds for the characters too, and um, there's only a certain amount of things they can do. It's tricky to program
They worked
it,
with what they had though.
yeah. And man, they made some really cool tracks. Like anyone listening to this that grew up on NES and played Mega Man 2 knows what I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about. There's some good music
I
back
have a
there, man.
it has
Yeah.
like that 8-bit sound to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, that's definitely 8-bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I
It,
have one like that one 8-bit sound um
oh,
instrumental. I
cool.
haven't uploaded it yet though. I'll play
Yeah.
it for you after the podcast if you're interested though.
Yeah, man. That'd be cool. Yeah.
I'll upload it someday.
Fun. Yeah, man. Hey, this is what we do as artists. We get our brushes into many wells. We play
Mm.
around and we find ways to just continue, just to
The
keep
world
it
is our
going.
canvas.
That it is, right? That's a good message to give to people too. Is that's and I see you demonstrating that, man. I want to thank you
I'll
for the work
try.
that you're doing. Yeah. Well,
I want to
it's
thank, don't just thank me, thank yourself. I want to
yeah,
thank you for this
yeah.
podcast that you're
Appreciate
doing,
it.
giving
Yeah.
platforms to artists as yourself, but also to artists as me. And like I said, your beautiful words, you're healing the world, one reader at a time if they
That's the
stop
whole.
and read what you have to say.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, dude. Yo, it's been so good talking to you, Jim. Let me see. Um, yep, we went about an hour 20 here or so, or just about an hour, I think. I think we started around 3:20, right? Yeah, so was there anything else you want to talk about before we close off?
Um, no, I think we covered a lot. It doesn't even seem like
Yeah.
it's been an hour. It seems like it's been
No,
like
man, that
40
flew
minutes,
by,
maybe.
man. Yeah, that flew by.
Time flies
So
when you're having fun, though.
it does. It does. And I hope to be doing a lot more of these conversational style podcasts. And since we've had such a good time, man, I'd like to invite you on for a future podcast and we'll do it again
Oh, for
sometime, man.
sure.
We'll catch up
I'll
with you and see what
definitely
you've been
have
up to.
more. Yeah, I'll have much more things to share. I'm working on a lot. I'll just put it that way. I've planted a lot of seeds. So
Yeah.
the next time I'm a guest again, I will definitely share the fruition of those seeds. Make those
Awesome,
trees
man.
sprout in time.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really looking forward to what grows and what you create and what you're sharing with the world, man. And I encourage you to keep it up. You're doing the good work. Um, it's inspiring to me every time I see somebody that taps into that well of infinite love, man, that's there for us all. And you're doing it, and you're doing it in a way that is accessible for people,
Hmm.
and uh, and that's the best we can hope for. So keep up the
Yeah,
good work, man. It's been awesome talking to you, and I
yeah,
want to
definitely. Thanks for
encourage.
having me again. I'm
Yeah, thank
grateful.
you. Yeah, thank you. So everybody, check out Heartbreak Jim, Journeys in Mind. You can find him on Instagram, and that's at heartbreak.gym on Instagram, right?
Underscore Jim, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and if you're listening to the podcast, it'll be in the details. It'll be in the description, and
It's
it will be on
underscore.
my. Okay, it is
It's
underscore.
underscore.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I did that for one of mine on Twitter too. I had to. I had to do the
Hmm.
underscore there instead of the period. But yeah, just search out your fellow artist friends and make sure that you're supporting and liking and sharing their stuff if it touches you in any way, because every artist out there that we appreciate, from the greatest to the rare and not as well known, all got to where they are and were able to help people because of our friends and our family and our supporters. So thank you all so much, who continue to inspire us to do what we're doing. And I encourage you guys to go out there, check out Heartbreak Jim, and share and support him as well.
It goes a long way. And thank you in advance to everyone.
Yes. Yeah, thank you all. We appreciate you guys. And thanks for tuning in to this episode of Actuali Podcast. Talk to you soon.